how do you do? Welcome to the QI Zoo for a show about animals that start with an H. Lined up for feeding time, we have the hawk-eyed Sean Locke. The hare-footed Ross Noble. The heavily petted Ruby Wax. And the hung-like-a-horsefly Alan Davis. Now, let's have a peep at your horns. Sean goes... Ruby goes...
Oh, it's a woman's sound.
Ross goes... And Alan goes... Oh, bless. So we're better to begin than question one. Let's start with an opportunity for some easy points. 2 points for each animal you can name that has horns. Yes.
Okay. Goat, elk, buffalo, ox, Dixon, Prancer, Rudolph. Cats who dress up as devils on Halloween. Oxen, did I say that? Goats, my mother. Unicorn.
Unicorn, no.
Why?
Rhino.
Oh, that's the problem.
Antelope.
Cat.
Antelope is good.
I already said cat.
What about a Viking dog?
There we go.
Because it would have the horns.
It might.
Yeah.
It might be, it might.
Now, strictly speaking, I know you're going to say, but the Vikings didn't have the horns on.
The point about a horn is that it must be bone. Technically, a horn is bone, not what a rhino has, which is...
Hair.
Hair, exactly.
Yeah, but tell that to the rhino.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still a horn. I think you'll find it's a horn.
There's nothing... I don't know if you've ever seen a wet rhino, but it actually just flops down. And quite often you'll find that, like, on nature programmes, when you zoom in on the sound, you hear them going, oh, I'm having a bad horn day. All the time.
They've got split ends.
I thought it was like a fingernail.
You thought it was a what?
Made out of toenail.
Well, that's the same thing as hair. So is your nails and your hair keratin.
Oh,
keratin.
I had no idea. If we let it just go, eventually we would have a horn?
Humans can have horns,
There we
funnily
go.
enough. There was a late 18th century nun, the nun of Pfälzer, who grew a horn. Her nunnery was invaded by Napoleonic troops.
And she grew that horn specifically to ward off people attacking the nunnery.
She
went, I've got a brilliant idea, let's not get spears and knives.
No, she was locked in an asylum and she banged her head regularly against the wall or against a table, and she started to grow a horn. It was a
brilliant. I'm doing it.
Just carry on. She eventually had it cut off because it was going into her eye.
What a waste, because what she should have done is had a Bible with a hook on it, and she could have just hung it there, and she could have been peeling potatoes, reading the Bible.
You're right.
They should have that on QVC. Are you sick of not being able to read the Bible whilst doing domestic duties? Try banging your head off a wall. It works for nuns. 8 out of 10 nuns prefer it.
That drawing doesn't seem to be the most convincing evidence. That sounds like a sort of... There's a picture, and someone thought, I won't do a Hitler moustache. I'll stick a horn on her.
But also, that looks less like a horn and more like she's put half a croissant.
It does.
It's like all that banging, and the Mother Superior should have just cut half a croissant and a little bit of jam, and that would have done the job. And she went, oh, and stabbed herself in the hand.
Is an antler a horn?
Yes. I know.
No. An antler is different. Why is an antler different?
Made of wood.
They grow. An antler is different because it's shed.
It's shed.
Yes, every year.
So what do they keep in this shed?
No, I did not a shed.
They keep their antlers in a shed?
So when the
I know,
two...
so little.
So when the two horned creatures are, you know, going at each other...
When they lock horns.
Yeah, yeah. Does that ever happen with nuns? Like when like one of them goes, that's my Bible, it's not my Bible.
I'd walk a mile on broken glass to see that.
Some people,
I'd also pay to hunt them as well.
some people fantasize about that image.
They do, don't they?
Two nuns locking horns.
Oh, wow.
Well, that animal on the left, I hope it's called the Mr. Whippy Goat. Whoever named it missed a real opportunity. I doubt if it is called the Mr. Whippy Goat.
No, because it's more of an antelope than a goat, but it is an... It's...
The animal on the left You say that it's evolved to have some kind of fear of sound. Is it
Yes, they are big
there that
receptors.
perhaps its predators maybe sneak up on it?
Yeah, that is. It is blessed. It is
It's-
a nervous
those are
creature.
It's the
enormous
Princess
ears.
Leia of the moose world.
It sort of is, isn't
We
it?
need bigger ears because they're still sneaking up on us.
So those are all proper horns there on the antelope and on the horned toad and on the... what's the other one?
Buffalo.
A buffalo, yes.
I think the buffalo's horns would be evolved so that nobody took it seriously.
Yes, they're rather sort of they look upside down
Sort
or
of
something.
sad and pathetic.
Yeah.
And then nobody would attack it. They just laugh at it and go, "Oh, you've been lumbered, mate."
Or maybe it's evolved living in a field with quite a low gate.
Yes.
The horns are caught on the gate again.
How comes, over years of evolution, you've got an animal like that with those sorts of horns,
Yeah.
and yet no animal has developed, like, kites?
Are you speaking English?
Is that sense of parting, is that going into the
Just say
horn?
to him, are you speaking...
I've never heard it.
Have you never heard a Geordie accent before?
Not coming from something with hair that's never been combed.
I just point out, right, I'm actually part of the show. I'm not on the screen.
Oh, I thought that was
you just say it, just go, what the hell is that thing?
I figured you just bend your head constantly.
I'll come at you like a nun.
I can see where he's a shock to a delicately nurtured
That's one of the worst threats I've ever heard. Like a nun. You go, would you like a sweet?
That's such a
Lord
proposition.
bless you.
But I think I've got a new catchphrase now.
Excellent. Well done, everybody. Many things that we call horns actually aren't. What would happen if you threw a hippo in the deep end of your local swimming pool?
It would sink.
It would sink.
Yeah.
In the winters, I live in Miami, and they all look like that. But they have lipstick on, so nobody would bat an eye.
No, they wouldn't.
They walk along the bottom. That's what they do.
That's exactly what they do. What hippos
Well, it's not
don't swim.
No, but it's not the first thing that would happen. The first thing that would happen would you'd get your swimming card revoked.
Yes.
Would be the first thing.
But also, Ross, I think it'd be a huge sense of relief that you'd finally got rid of the hippo.
Yeah.
You'd got through the turnstiles with it, through the changing rooms, and then you think, oh, Christ, at least I've bloody done it. I've got... Oh, dear, the guy's here about this. Probably take the traffic cone off your head.
So this one would die because he's got floaties on, and actually they need...
That is a mistake. I mean, they can float and they can drop to the bottom, but what they can't do is swim.
is do the backstroke.
Which
Which is
strange.
why
They
that
can-
ident on BBC One, where they're all swimming around in a circle,
Is all wrong.
factually incorrect.
Exactly, where they're doing a sort of doggy paddle, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of EastEnders isn't true either.
That really shocked us. How then do they get out of a river?
A small boy in pyjamas dives
Oh,
in
yeah,
and
that's
saves
true.
them.
No, they walk along the bottom or bounce and stride.
Oh, I know.
until
They fill their lungs and float to the top.
Well, no,
I'm
actually,
just
they
using
just walk
logic.
to the shallow part.
Sometimes they carry a small thing of helium,
Yes,
and they put it in,
that-
and they get to the surface, and then just keep going.
Well, they certainly can't use a ladder.
You
you're
said
right.
that with anger. Like,
Yeah.
bloody hippos. Like, you paid a few of them to do some decorating. Came back, and they were just sat around smoking. You went, can't even use a bloody ladder. I'm sick of it.
The fact is, they just walk up the shallow bit to get out onto land.
But that is a good point, though. If a hippo did go into a swimming pool and it didn't have a shallow end, how would it get out?
It probably couldn't. It could certainly float, as you rightly said, because when they sleep, they put just a tiny bit of their nostrils up so that they can breathe and float.
And so how many hippos a year die due to Sean pushing them into swimming pools?
Quite a few. It's a growing problem. How many teeth does a hippo have?
A full-grown one has 40. And the reason I know that's a fact is I got asked a question by my daughter the other day. Dad, how many teeth has a hippo got? And I went, let's go over to this little bit of equipment here.
Are you sure you didn't go, well, I tell you, but I just pushed my last one into a swimming pool?
When they do that, they always have that photo with their massive
That's
mouths open, and there's two at the top and two at
That's
the
it.
bottom.
No. It said that a full-grown hippo has 40, minimum of 40.
Is that Wikipedia?
No. No, it was hippoteeth.com.
See, now the hippo is not afraid of predators sneaking up on it.
No, the smaller ears.
Tiny little ears, barely needs them.
That's right.
What could we hear that would bother us?
Yeah.
Until it's right there.
You can't even... They're very hard to shoot. Why would that be?
Underwater.
No, it's there.
Oh, they've got night vision goggles.
Go underground, they can fly.
Skin, their hide is unbelievably thick. Their skin weighs a ton. It's a quarter of their whole body weight is their hide. It's
Thick as-
unbelievably thick. Most bullets would bounce off it, or at least just sort of fall down. I mean, they wouldn't penetrate.
Don't start giving him ideas. He's already pushing them into swimming. He's in the water.
Has it, looking at those light patches around the eyes, has it been on a sunbed?
Well, now, people often think, do they get somehow sunburned? Because...
They do.
Well, they get very red. And it looks like sunburn to us, but actually they give off a red oil. People genuinely used to think they bled.
It puts
they
his
bled
ears
through their
over his
skin.
eyes like that.
But it's...
What would that be doing for them? The red oil.
When they're out, it keeps their skin moisturised. Right, well, moving on. Hippos can't swim, but they can float. If you threw one in the deep end, it would most likely allow itself to sink to the bottom before walking to the shallow end. What's the point of having a head like a hammer? Oh, my Lord! Oh, my
You
gracious.
mean like a shark?
Yes, like a shark.
Like
People
a shark.
spend...
I know that
when
one.
they approach it, I imagine, you're talking about hammerhead shark.
Yes.
I imagine most creatures that approach it don't recognise it as another creature until they get round the side. Whoop, too late.
Or it was
That's
pulling
an
a
interesting
face, and then God said, if you do that one more time, it's going to stick.
Right.
They were gurning.
Their eyes are on the end,
They were
aren't they?
sharks gurning.
They've got eyes on the end, so... Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not fully understood, to be honest, but it certainly gives it an extraordinary depth perception to have eyes
Well,
that
it's a
far
bottom
apart.
feeder. It goes, I know, on the bottom.
is a bottom feeder,
I
you're
like
right.
to talk about bottom feeders.
Do you, Ruby?
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
They're like hoovers of the
Well,
sea.
they eat flatfish and stingrays and things that live on the bottom that often camouflage themselves under sand. So how do they detect things that are camouflaged? If not with their eyes, but
Oh, with the fins, they go like that.
they have
Do
things
they
called...
smell everything?
No, they have ampoules. A lot of sharks
Oh.
have this. They're called ampoules.
And it smells?
And they detect
Things?
electrical movement so sensitively that the electrical movement you or I make by operating our muscles, which does involve electrical movement, they could detect that.
So
and
you
they
could
detect it in a shifting fish. And it seems that gives them a really impressive, rather like a sort of long radar antenna.
So you could really mess with their heads if you chucked in a toaster.
Yes, it certainly would.
Because the trouble with a hammerhead shark is it's very hard for it to do a double take.
Yes. It's true. It's a comic nightmare.
You know what, I've just realised what's missing from your average shark.
Yeah.
They haven't got any lips.
No, they haven't.
That's why they look so hideous.
It does give them a
You
nasty
could
look.
just give them a bit of collagen and a bit of puff-up and a bit of colour. They'd
but
look
that-
quite attractive.
They'd come up lovely, wouldn't
That'd be
If you-
so
yeah.
much more sinister if a shark was coming up to you and just before it bit you went...
they? But what about their teeth, Sean, as you're an expert on animal teeth?
How many?
Yeah. How many teeth?
Do you know about shark teeth?
You've got a computer, I can check it for you.
No, shark's teeth are really interesting. They have a lot of teeth, as you
And
know.
they have-
and then they
come
have rows
forward, don't they?
behind.
They come forward when they
and
lose them.
That's it. Yeah, they lose a tooth and another one comes forward, like a sort of conveyor belt for each one. It just
You know, with
replace.
dolphins, sorry to go off of sharks.
no, dolphins.
They detect when something's dying. That's how they figure out, to go for it. So a lot of times I went swimming with one. They say, if you have false breaths, don't go in because it'll ram you over and over again. You know, that
Yeah.
sometimes kids with, who are disabled go in and,
Yes.
and then it sort
With
of
sharks?
nudges. Not
No,
with
dolphins.
sharks.
We're on
Oh, sorry, I missed that. I thought you were putting disabled kids in with sharks. I was thinking, what sort of charity is this? I've got to give him some money!
No, but the reason for that, it's like everyone thinks it's because they've got this, perception and all the rest of it. It's not. It's just because they get in there and they think it's a ball. The next thing you know, it's up on the nose. They're going along like that. Woman's knocker on the top, and then.
But they always give you instructions. Never, they give you a pep talk and say never touch a dolphin underneath its waistline.
Yep.
Because they get very excited.
But though they extend their penises for a lift. They extend their penises, you hold on
They're
to
not
it, and
just
they give
put
you a
their
lift.
hand
That's how
out
they
like
take you
everyone
off.
else.
That's it, if they've already got somebody on the top deck. They got on the feed and go, got no room on top, you'll have to go down below. This is true, these are facts.
Or you
I
put your...
can't help if I got an inquiring mind.
They have been known to save people, though, haven't they? Nudge people to shore who are in trouble.
There are stories going right back to the ancient Greeks, of course, Orion and various others. Yeah, I've swum with dolphins as well, and it is quite an extraordinary experience. Very good.
It's terrible when they reject you.
Oh.
That's horrible. And all your family and all your therapists are standing on the beach. It's freezing cold, and there's loads of dolphins just pissing off back to the sea. And then you look round and you go, I suppose we just better carry on with the medication then.
No, Sean. If they rejected you, Sean...
I mean, at least we tried. Can I have a towel?
Sean, if they rejected you, it's because you're strong and whole. They're not interested in fit people.
Right.
They're drawn towards the weak and the disadvantaged, and you're clearly totally fit.
I was talking to a marine biologist who basically said, people, you know, oh, they're these amazing creatures and you can swim with them and stuff. And he said, actually, they're a bunch of sort of fighting ragtag. If you see, like, proper wild dolphins, they've got lumps out of them and bits missing, and they're fighting. And I just love the idea that people are just going, oh, I want this amazing experience.
They're so serene and mystical and lyrical.
Well, actually, it's just like being chucked in with a bunch of wet skinheads.
Yeah. And they bully each other. They bully each other and they attack porpoises.
Well, how do they tell each other apart?
In the same way that anyone
else would. Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
How do ants tell when they meet a beetle? It's not an ant. How do they know? And it meets a beetle. Yeah, all right. Yeah. And then, how does it know? Because they can't see, can they?
Yeah, because it's either...
Ants can't see.
Yes, they can.
Oh, go back to school, Steve. Maybe I'm going on the wrong website.
I think you might have been.
It's Jordan's Animal Facts I'm going on. Ask Jordan. That's how I go and get my animal information.
How do they learn to do the ballet, you know? The dolphins, you know, when they go up like a mix master. How do they know how to do that?
Millions of years of practice, evolution.
Can you imagine the sex with that one? That would be exciting. The Kama Sutra of the dolphin world.
It's not often I find myself in a group of 4 people thinking I'm the most normal, sane and balanced person. But I'm happy to feel that today. Now, nobody really knows why hammerheads have such odd heads, but it seems that it allows them to detect more food. Why is it hard to hang on to a hagfish? There's a hagfish, yes?
It releases mucus to defend itself, which works in real life. If anybody ever comes at me, I just sneeze at them and they're backing off.
So... But I don't think you could produce the kind of slime that a hagfish could produce.
You don't know me. I'm very young and fertile.
Would you like to see, have a look at a hagfish releasing slime and tell me you could produce as much? Here's someone manipulating it. That is producing that. It can turn a bucket of 20 litres of water into slime in minutes.
Great party piece.
Isn't it?
I actually think my baby daughter might be a hagfish. Yeah, because that's nothing. To be honest with you, I've got that on my trousers every morning.
It also can tie itself into knots, which is another impressive thing. It literally does a slip knot or an overhand knot. It's quite bizarre.
Given the choice, if I had to have special powers, I'd like to be bitten by one of them. Because excreting mucus would be... You know, because like Spider-Man, he's all very well, do a bit of climbing and that.
Slime
but imagine
boy.
if you just sat in a chair and somebody went, do your thing, and you went... Bleh.
It would be fantastic.
It'd be brilliant. Because if somebody tried to get you in a headlock, you just go... Bleh.
That's exactly it. That's what it does.
Yeah, Ross, superheroes are meant to help people. How would you help people with this mucus? You know, like Spider-Man helps people. How would you help people with this mucus?
Oh, there's a child who's got his head in the railings. Oh, no. This... that one. Oh,
yeah, that's a really good comic book story, isn't it?
This gravy is unnecessarily runny.
This couple is dry humping.
Exactly.
Whatever. Yeah. Various things.
I'd rather have hippo powers, though.
Hippo
Because
powers.
you're bulletproof, you can run at 35 miles an hour and you can walk on the bottom of the deep end and you only have to brush 4 teeth in the morning.
Yes.
The only trouble with that is your arch nemesis, Lockboy, pushes you into a swimming pool. Yes. I can't get out. That's how they talk.
Well, there we are. Hagfish. Hagfish are hard to hold because they tie themselves into a knot and ooze slime in all directions. How would you collect the snot from a sneezing humpback?
Is mucus our word of the day?
No. It's
They
just
sneeze through their blowhole.
They don't sneeze, actually. They can't sneeze. But they breathe out. It's actually, when you see a humpback whale
where's the snot come from?
breathing out, it is breath. It contains mucus.
So who collects
a
it?
sneeze. Well, they're a scientist interested in monitoring the health of a humpback. Why is it important to see whether humpbacks have got colds or flu?
Because a sick one, you can push it towards the Japanese.
No, because...
No, because then they go, oh, we'll have that one, knock off her.
No, because, like birds, like pigs, they get flu that jumps species to man. And if that flu jumps to us, which is possible...
That'd be a nightmare, because...
It's a whole new genetic code for us to
whale flu.
Well, not just that. Think of the waiting room at the doctor's. You'd be squashed against the wall like that, and he'd be there.
When you get bird flu, you don't get all small and grow wings. It's not... To get a flu is not the same as to turn into the animal.
No, but what I'm saying is, if that humpback whale has got the flu and he's taken up all the chairs...
Oh, is he right?
All the pensioners and me are pressed against the wall...
Well, we're going to have to encourage the whales to ring NHS Direct and not...
Yes, that's right.
The only trouble with that is NHS Direct pick up the phone and they think it's a fax machine.
It's true.
Wrong number again, and he's there just going, I'm really ill, and they won't let me come down the doctors because they take up too much room. And I keep knocking the posters off the wall with me barnacle arse.
But... If I can just guide you away for a moment towards the snot, how do you collect it?
With a bag over its head, like an ordinary bag from Greggs or any...
It's quite...
In fact, it has to be
You put
from
pepper
Greggs.
in it.
It has to be.
You put pepper in the hole.
It started... Aceveda Whitehouse, her name was, Karina Aceveda Whitehouse, who was a researcher who's very much a specialist. And she used to have a petri dish on the end of a long stick and try and get it through the plume, but it's just too difficult. There's too much turbulent water. She couldn't get
She swims next to it and waits for it to sneeze?
That's what she originally did, but what does she do now? She's got a really good system.
Big condom over the top of the hole.
Remote control toy helicopter that flies there.
Oh, my God.
There it is, collecting. Isn't that perfect?
Collecting it.
I mean, if you're going to be a scientist specialising in collecting snot, at least...
Yeah.
Has she come up with anything? I mean, you know, now that she has the collection...
Good data on the transmission of flu between humpback whales, which is jolly difficult because they travel more than any other, 5,000 miles a year, routinely.
Trying to get away from the remote control.
Yeah, probably.
Terrifying.
I wouldn't fancy being the bloke that works in her local toy shop either. Oh, it's broken again, is it? Yeah, I've got all mucus in there. My mate, like you said about the carrier bag there, my mate tried to steal a squid from a sea life centre in a carrier bag. And he had it, no, seriously, he had it all planned out. And he got this carrier bag, and he said, oh, I'm going to go for it this week. And saw him and he said, oh, this is a nightmare. He couldn't find a carrier bag, that, you know, the safety holes in the bottom?
Yes, because it leaked water.
He couldn't find one that didn't, and then finally said, oh, I'm doing it, you know, I've found a hefty one, you know. And this is honest to God's truth. He had it all, he had the tank ready, he knew which sea life centre he was going to steal it from. He got the bag, he glued up the holes with sellotape and super glue.
Just as he was about to do it, he was committed.
I saw him. I said, did you get it? He said, no. So what happened? He went, the handle's broke. He put it in the water and it was too heavy.
Why was he so committed to a carrier bag? Why not a squid catching bag?
What about a normal fishing net?
Yeah,
on the end of a bamboo cane.
But he had to get it home on the bus. He didn't have a car.
So, people who do research into whale flu collect snot using remote-controlled toy helicopters. Now, imagine you're taking a hamster on holiday. How can you make sure it doesn't get jet lag? Yes, Russ.
Holiday in England.
That would do it.
Don't necessarily have to be in England, you just have to stay in the same time zone.
If they're in the cage and they're moving that way and the plane is moving that way, this isn't my area.
Yeah.
Doesn't it balance out in
What do you mean
space and
the
time?
wheel is going one? No.
The wheel is going...
It doesn't quite work.
It's an
That's a nice
idea.
thought.
Is there an answer to this?
There is, yeah. I mean, they have experimented on hamsters and jet lag. They've not actually...
See, look how cute.
They are
You know what I
very
mean? It's a woman. I want to nurse it.
But you pay for it and you realise it does nothing. You watch these guinea pigs in G-Force, they are like fighting, climbing, firing guns, saving people. Yeah. You go home and you see him sitting there, lazy, useless. You're just like a furry scrounger. You get out there
Can you
and
put
do
your
something.
head in a hole like that? I don't think so.
Yeah, but
And they drop pellets. They do a lot of things.
The thing is, Sean, he made that wooden thing.
I was visiting a friend's house, and on the upstairs landing, I had gone to the loo, and I came out, and it was a summer's day, and there was a big open window over the lawn, and there was a football, and I kicked the football through the window, and a child burst into tears, and it had a hamster in it. It was a hamster ball. I didn't know that. I'd never seen such a thing. There are these balls that you put hamsters in. It was terrible. It was shocking.
What
It was actually fine. It was a little dizzy, but it wasn't dead.
Exhilarated, I thought.
Exhilarated.
Whoa!
Again.
Someone's done it! Don't take me back in! No! Ah.
It was most unfortunate. But, yeah, they do have...
melatonin. You give it melatonin.
It's not melatonin. It is a drug, and it's a rather surprising one. It's a common drug.
Marzipan?
Paracetamol.
Not temazepam, not paracetamol. I'm sure you haven't taken it. You're too young and virile. Viagra is the right answer. Viagra appears to recover from jet lag as long as it's eastward-bound jet lag. That's the weird thing. Jet lag's a lot worse when you're travelling east. It's a lot better when you're travelling west. So, for example, if you go to America, you recover better than when you come back home. It takes you longer to recover. Good. Excellent. Yes, jet-lagged hamsters can have their symptoms alleviated by giving them Viagra. What gives honeybees a real buzz?
Is it it's the smoke that they blow into the
Well, that gives
hive?
them a sort of opposite of a buzz, doesn't it? That pacifies them. Do you know why the smoke is used? The smoke alarms them so much that they think someone's attacking the hive. They eat all their honey, and they just get bloated, and they don't have any aggressive like that. So that's actually what's happening, rather than the smoke getting into their lungs or anything.
I'm really glad now that I've been bitten by a radioactive hagfish, not a radioactive bee, because that'd be a nightmare if you're half human, half bee. Somebody has a fag and you just go, "Where's the honey?"
Now, the fact... what... bees speak... Or not speak isn't quite
body.
the word.
They do like the
they have the
hula
only
to show
language
where to
with another
go.
animal that we fully understand.
So we know what they're doing?
So within meters, we can read their dances, their waggles, yeah, because they're telling each other how far away the nearest good source is and where it is. It's been studied for over 100 years, and we can tell exactly what it is they're saying. And what's interesting, I don't know who did this, if you give them cocaine, they exaggerate. Well, they claim there's more honey than there is. Yeah. They overdo it. They get boastful, essentially. And
tell stories that never end.
Yeah, it seems to have a similar effect on them than it does on humans.
And do they all go off and get a job in advertising?
Yeah. And lose their appetite and so on. But actually, the strange thing about bees is that...
And they take your blood.
Well, no, 85% of all bee species are loners. They don't live in colonies, and only a tiny fraction, I think it's 20 out of the thousands of species, are honeybees. Most bees aren't honeybees. But one of the most interesting bees, you'll love this piece of film, is the Japanese honeybee, which has developed a fabulous way of attacking hornets who try and get into their... Watch this, you'll love this. There's the hornet, and it's killing the individuals. It's vicious.
It rips their...
But look, they make a bee ball.
Yes, I've seen this, yeah.
This huge ball.
They suffocate them, don't they?
It's more than suffocate. There's so much heat generated in this ball, they boil.
The bees.
They literally boil the hornet. Because the heat, it gets bigger and bigger. You wouldn't want that to happen to you, would it?
No.
It's frightening.
Mucus would be so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that stunning?
Well, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah. That hornet is an ex-hornet. 75% of all fruit on the planet is pollinated by
bees.
Bats. Actually, bats are far more responsible for pollination.
Walked into that one.
Yes, you did.
But I was like, you've been framed with the cake and the glass door.
But to be fair, bat honey is horrible.
Yes, it is. Disgusting.
Unpleasant.
Absolutely disgusting. Well, when bees take drugs, they behave much like humans. They dance around manically and exaggerate about their lives. That was a question about Hymenoptera, as is this. What am I describing here? Pure, intense, brilliant pain, like fire walking over flaming charcoal with a 3-inch rusty nail in your heel.
Childbirth.
Probably. Probably.
Is it a bee sting?
But yeah, there is a man called Schmidt. He's devoted his life to creating the Schmidt scale of insect bite or sting pain. And he is being bitten or stung by just about every stinging, biting insect there is.
Oh.
And he writes rather sort of wine connoisseur descriptions. Ow! There,
Yeah.
look at that, of the pain. And it starts at 1 and goes up to +4, which is the one we've just heard, the bullet ant. But it starts with a sweat bee at 1, which you can see on the left there.
Wow.
That's light, ephemeral, almost fruity. A tiny spark has singed a single hair on your arm.
Notes of blackberry.
Yes, notes of blackberry. Exactly, leather and
Is
tobacco.
number 10 like listening to Westlife?
Okay, mate. Then 1.8 is the bullhorn acacia ant, a rare, piercing, elevated sort of pain. Someone has fired a staple into your cheek.
What a hell of an office party that was.
To make a comparison.
I guess he has. Then there's the bald-faced hornet, rich, hearty, slightly crunchy, similar to getting your hand mashed in a revolving door.
It's a very, very good thing to document.
Then there's the yellow jacket. Imagine W.C. Fields extinguishing a cigar on your tongue.
Specifically WC.
Does he still like him?
You know,
Yeah.
you just go, oh, that one, that's more like Jimmy Savile. no, that's WC.
No,
Yes.
George
Number 3.
Burns.
Yes. Number
Did you
3
see
is
the
paper-
documentary where the guy wanted to be, he was into being bitten by snakes?
I was bitten. That's what it was called, wasn't
I
it?
was bitten.
Yeah, he was really, it was a pleasurable thing. So he
He
went
liked
for
that.
bigger and bigger and harder and harder.
But he was getting almost a kind of buzz out of it
Yeah.
rather than pain, wasn't it?
So how do you know this guy isn't?
Well, he may be, but it's the paper was caustic and burning, distinctly bitter aftertaste, like spilling a beaker of hydrochloric acid on a paper cut. That's nasty. Then there's the bullet ant, which is the one I described. Pure, intense, brilliant pain. It's called a bullet ant because it's like getting shot with a bullet. There it is.
Yeah.
Nasty piece of work. Anyway, yes, the fact is entomologist Justin Schmidt has been stung by almost every insect and describes the bullet ant sting as the most painful on Earth. What is the world's most aggressive mammal?
My mother.
Yeah.
Is it one of those 3?
No, it isn't. It isn't.
The rhino.
No, the rhino's not the least bit aggressive.
Not a mammal either.
Oh, don't be so
A rhino is a
smarty
mammal,
pants.
yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was a dinosaur.
Well, why is it called a rhinoceros then, if it's not a dinosaur?
Because it's not.
Because it's not. It's called a rhinoceros. That's what dinosaurs are called.
It's a rhinoceros, isn't
Rhinoceros.
it? It's a rhinoceros. Have you been called it a rhinoceros?
There's a problem.
When I get home!
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
No, that was genuine stupidity.
No, that's fine.
Straight into the graph
That's
door.
always
Stupidity.
welcome. Always welcome. I'm
Is it
sorry
gonna
about
begin
that.
with an H?
Yes, it does. It used to be known as the rattle, but it's now seems to be more commonly known as the something beginning with H.
Hyena?
Not a hyena, no.
Horse.
No. This is a really savage animal. Its first word is something we were discussing with bees. Oh, very good. Someone in the audience gets 10 points for honey badger. Honey badger.
You know what? On the subject of, I know it's not strictly speaking a badger, but you know what annoys me, right, is the term to badger somebody. Because badgers don't actually badger. You know, if you had to badger somebody, you wouldn't be like hounding them all the time. You'd move into their garden and you'd just sleep a lot.
And be
emerge,
incredibly shy.
And just emerge when Bill Oddie stuck a camera in your face.
Yes.
That's the way you badger somebody, and it's about time it changed.
Incredibly fair point.
Yes.
And actually, the honey badger isn't a true badger either.
I did say that.
It was, yes, you did. I thought you did.
You
And
know,
get
I might
points
be an
for that.
idiot, but I'm an accurate idiot.
You so are, and it's not a badger. And well done for knowing that. It reminded the first people who saw it because of the colouring of a European badger, but it's not connected. And they are staggeringly aggressive. They attack anything: lions, humans, hyenas, and they have huge claws for their size, so they can do an immense amount of damage. Do you know which part of a mammal, including a man, that they will attack?
Well, I imagine
it's
the Nethers.
Yes, the testicles is the right answer. That's what they go for. They woof like that. And there are stories of them attacking buffalo.
How do they know? How did they know where the testicles are? Because it'll be on different animals in different areas.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I'm exploring, everybody knows. I explore like this. With chaps on, no pants.
And I'll tell you what, though, badger honey is so much worse than bat honey.
Yes. But the first account of it, 1947 account of an adult buffalo being castrated by one of these things. Scientific American said in 2009 that pound for pound, the honey badger is the world's most fearsome land mammal because it's so aggressive, it has such big claws compared to its body size.
Why aren't they in charge, then?
Yeah.
Why are we in charge and not them?
Because we temper our aggression sometimes with altruism, with knowledge, with cognitive faculties.
No, Stephen, it's bombs.
Oh, right, yes.
And also, we worked out how to make security pants.
Yeah.
So when them honey badgers come up...
That's true. They're frustrated. Yeah.
They can't get at the balls.
How big is it? Are they quite small? Like a
True. Yeah, relatively small, yeah. But they're about yay big.
And what, do they eat honey?
They do.
Yes, they
Well,
do
I'm sure
eat
ask
honey.
people
Is there
in the
some
audience
sort of honey badger society?
There is.
Is it the South London honey badger society? Oh, come on, down here, mate. Have a look at that. Cover your balls, he's coming out.
I mean, it's certainly part of their diet because they famously use, what do they use to find the honey?
Their noses.
No, another animal.
A bird.
A bird called the honey guide. The honey guide is
Honey
a bird
guide.
that will...
You are so hot now for
It's
me.
learnt to cooperate with the badger. The bird can see where the hive is
So
and
then the
hovers
badger
over it,
opens it up.
makes the noise, the badger goes in and opens it up, the bird gets its reward by sharing the honey and the badger won't attack it. But they'll also do that for humans, honey guides. They will lead humans to hives so that you can get honey.
That's a fact, you're right there.
Yep.
These guys?
Yeah. I'll tell you a little secret. I've actually got Jordan on a little thing, and she's just telling me this stuff straight into my ear.
Ah, well, that's why you're doing so well.
So why don't the police use them for riot situations? How brilliant would that be? Because, you know... oh, hello.
It is pretty savage, isn't it?
Because the police dog, you know, a lot of the time, they've got the police dog, he's there, "Arrgh," and everyone's going, oh, it's a dog, I might outrun it. But if you just tell them, got a honey badger, get them balls ready.
Spread them.
You may be
Spread
right.
them.
If you castrate every peace demonstrator, that's probably not a way forward.
Yeah.
No, the police dogs are trained to bark if they hear someone say bastards. So you can set
What
a
about
police dog off.
blackguard? Villain?
Villain, yeah.
You can have a bit of fun. You can have a bit of fun.
You can
at,
trigger them off.
Like if you go to like a country show and they're doing the demonstration.
Yeah.
Bastard!
Moving on. They're very good, though. As the honey badger constituency in our audience knew, the most aggressive mammal is probably the honey badger. When attacking humans, they supposedly go for the testicles, which brings us face to face with the vicious predator of general ignorance. Fingers on buzzers, please. I have some points available for you. If all you have to do is to identify every animal in front of you. Yeah.
Hedgehog, mouse, and...
We've not done well to start with.
Is that a hedgehog?
Is one of them a bilby?
There are no bilbies there, and there's no mouse there.
Is that
Is there a shrew?
A buffalo?
A shrew?
Shrew?
Is that a
No,
dwarf?
there is no shrew. Let's have a look again.
Look again.
Let's see them again.
A mole?
Is that a baby? No.
They're all different species of one kind of animal.
Dog.
No. Not a dog. Not a dog. Think of a place where species have
New Zealand.
evolved, like New Zealand, separately.
You know, Galapagos.
Not Galapagos.
Madagascar.
But it is an island, it's Madagascar. In Madagascar, a few mammals, millions and millions of years ago, were hived off from Africa, from Gondwana land, and they evolved separately. And they filled niches similar to those in Europe. And this particular animal is known as a tenrec, and it is various species of it. They fill the same niches as hedgehogs do. They are not in any way connected or related to hedgehogs. They have just solved the problems of existence in the same way. And there are plants that have done the same. There are things that you would swear blind are a cactus, but are not in any way a cactus or
bogus.
Madagascar. Yes, exactly, they kind of are. So, The tenrec is a Madagascan mammal that has evolved over millions of years to create species that look exactly like mice, shrews, and even hedgehogs. Now, what are these animals fighting about?
They're not fighting. They're just
Sparring.
trying to get some.
They're trying to do a high five, but they just can't get it together.
They do it in springtime,
Yeah.
and they go getting a bit frisky.
It's two males fighting over a girlie.
No.
How bad can it get? It doesn't matter.
Go
now.
for it now.
Yeah,
Go for it
dolphins
now.
and
But
Jordan.
a hare's got no
What do I
chance of
know?
having sex with a girl. They've got to have sex with another hare, surely.
Girl hair. I think.
I mean, they're deluded. Girl is way out of their league. They're not even going to get a kiss. They might get a kiss off a girl.
It's not two males fighting. It is a female fighting off a male who is too frisky, saying she's basically saying she's not up for it. That's
It's basically we're watching a rape.
well. You're watching a female stopping a rape.
That's just...
Yeah.
I mean, you have a go at me, but that's sick.
Just sneeze at him. Just give him the mucus.
Get some pepper spray.
Yeah, maybe that would happen. When two hares box, it's more than likely that a female is boxing away an overexcited male that she doesn't want to mate with. And finally, what is rhino horn used for in traditional Chinese medicine?
What do you want us to say?
You've finally got wise, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will let you
sure.
off the hook. It has never been used as an aphrodisiac. It is a fallacy. It's used supposedly to keep fevers at bay. Of course, it makes no more sense in keeping fevers at bay than it does as an aphrodisiac, because it is, as we discussed earlier, simply hair.
Is that the nun again?
Chinese
They might as well
medicine.
bite their nails.
Chinese medicine is bollocks.
Yes.
That's Jordan.
Yeah.
She said it's... Kim bollocks. Load of old tits. She says, if Chinese medicine's so good, why do they build hospitals?
God bless her.
No, I can't say that, Jordan.
Oh, dear. Yeah, the fact is, it isn't true. Rhino horn is not used as an aphrodisiac in traditional Chinese medicine. It's most often taken for a fever, which brings us all the way back to our horns and indeed to the end of the show. So let's have a look at the scores. Well, my goodness gracious me, the dominant male this evening on 7 points is Ross Noble. Wow. And in second place with a highly respectable -5, Sean Locke and Jordan. Thank you. And he's really improving now. -6, Alan Davis. I'm afraid at the very bottom of the food chain, they're as thick as two short planktons. Ruby Wax with -36. Whoa! A fine start. And so it's good night from Ruby, Sean, Ross and Alan. I leave you with this piece of wisdom from Homer Simpson. Weaseling out of things is important to learn. It's what separates us from the animals, except the weasel. Thank you and good night.
More from QI this coming Friday night on BBC HD. And tomorrow night, just in case you missed it, The Apprentice is heading for the beach at 10:25. On the way tonight, a journey into the world of Chopin.